I think Tim Tebow can help him do that.
And this is a very tough place to play. Seahawks 4-0 here at home. The record is 5-4. They come off an impressive win over Minnesota last week and a very impressive performance by their star running back, Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah, he's the key to it all here in Seattle. It starts with their ability to run the ball with him, and he's having a fantastic year. Second in the league in rushing right now with 881 yards.
Well, the Jets have won the toss, and they will receive. And back deep, Clyde Gates, second-year man out of Abilene Christian. Sees Stephen Hauschka getting set to kick it away. Gates, the one-time member of the Miami Dolphins, filling in for the injured Joe McKnight, who had been averaging 29 yards a return, including that 100-yard return for a touchdown. McKnight is out with an injured ankle. Here in Seattle, it is an exceptionally high decibel level crowd. Their celebrated 12th man effect. And the Seahawks always among the leaders in opponent false start penalties because of the crowd. This one is bounced. And Gates will stay right there. So they'll bring it out to the 20-yard line as Mark Sanchez takes the field on this, his 26th birthday.
Yeah, and talking to him on Friday night, I get the sense, Marv, that he knows he has to play better. Completing just 52% of his passes. He has one of the worst quarterback ratings in the league, and I think he knows what's at stake in this one.
I would hope he knows what's at stake.
Well, he's got to play better, and again, way too inconsistent. And they need to play better around him, and I think he and the coaching staff realize that as well.
Sean Green and Lex Hilliard in the backfield. Lined up in the offset eye. And Sanchez to throw on first down. It is tipped incomplete. As we take a look at the Jets offensively, at right tackle Austin Howard will be dealing with the combination of Chris Clemens and Bruce Irvin. They've combined for 12 sacks. Backs and receivers, tight end Dustin Keller has been set back by hamstring issues, but he is Sanchez's favorite receiver. Last year, 65 receptions. Different story this season because Keller has missed 4 games because of injury. Here's Green. Try to pick up an extra couple of yards as we check out the Seattle defense, ranked 4th overall. Defensive end Chris Clemens leading the Seahawks with 7 sacks. Linebackers Mike Morgan in his first NFL start playing for the injured KJ Wright. Morgan his second season out of USC. And the secondary Seattle with 3 Pro Bowlers, including the right corner Brandon Browner. He and Richard Sherman, the tallest cornerback tandem in the NFL. Browner at 6'4", Sherman at 6'3". Bilal Powell in the backfield. Sanchez with time. It is broken up. Pass intended for Keller. The strong safety, Cam Chancellor, got a piece of it, and a flag is also thrown.
Well, this is really good coverage right here by Cam Chancellor, and that's a battle that Dustin Keller is going to have to win today. They have to be able to win in the middle of the field with the tight end.
Before the pass was thrown, holding, defense, number 39, 5-yard penalty from the previous spot, and an automatic first down.
Well, they have 2 big physical corners here in Seattle. You look at Brandon Brown at the top of your screen. He's going to be working against Clyde Gates, and he just grabs him. And there's really no need for that. He's got help over the top with the safety.
So the Jets first down from their 28-yard line. They stay with Green and Hilliard. Off the play fake. It is dropped. A pass intended for the fullback, Lex Hilliard.
Well, a couple things here. Lex Hilliard's got to make this catch, but Mark can throw a little bit better ball, not low and away like this. That's actually a pretty good throw. But Hilliard's got to be able to make that play.
And now Tim Tebow has checked in. Rich, earlier you said you will see much more of Tebow, and that was the indication we got from Rex Ryan the other day.
They were coming off their bye. They had plenty of extra time to prepare and get more plays in the game plan for Tim Tebow.
And he throws the pass, a swing completed to Jeremy Curley, but just a yard on the play. Leroy Hill, the outside linebacker, making the stop. And now Sanchez makes his return. We talked about this earlier in the season. How would you have felt as a quarterback in Oakland at Minnesota if basically you have 2 downs to work with because the backup would keep coming in every so often?
I'd hate it, and you know that, and I don't know what they just accomplished there. I mean, if you're going to throw a little slip screen, why not throw it with Mark Sanchez? And I think it hurts both quarterbacks. Neither get a rhythm and a feel for the timing early in the game.
3rd and 9. Sanchez to the sideline. It is caught for a first down. Gates with a nice catch and then able to lean to pick it up. That's an advance of 10.
I think it's really important, absolutely critical that the Jets handle the crowd noise early. They get off to a fast start because they can't afford to fall behind. That really plays into the strength of Seattle's defense. They have some very good pass rushers. They got 25 sacks already. That's why it's critical. It's critical that the Jets have some success early in this game.
Getting back to Tebow, overall, through the first 8 games, he played just 55 snaps and has had very little impact. This is Green making the move up near midfield. Richard Sherman, the left corner, on the tackle, picked up 3.
Well, you look at the problems that the Jets have had running the football. I mean, these numbers right here tell the story. Look how successful they were from 2008 to 2010, and then since then. And that's a big problem. If they're going to turn things around, they need more production from Sean Green in the running game.
Well, the coaches will point out the last 3 games Green has picked it up, but you have to look at a game 2 weeks ago as Green again gets the call and goes for a couple and has the first down. In the 30-9 loss 2 weeks ago to Miami, I think you have to throw out numbers in that game for the Jets.
Well, special teams were a big story in that game. I mean, they get an onside kick against them. They had a punt block, the field goal block, and they didn't play great defensively. But the bottom line is, and I said this before the start of the season, if they can't run the ball and control the line of scrimmage with this offense, they're in big trouble.
Jets first down at the Seattle 49. Green with the hole. Still just a short pickup. Alan Branch able to close it. That's a 4-yard run.
Well, you look at the special teams problems last week. Really struggled in that game against Miami. We talked about the punt being blocked, the field goal blocked, they get the onside kick. And Mike Westhoff is one of the best special teams coordinators in the business. It was the most frustrated he's ever been after a game.
All right, here's Tebow back in. And for the second time, he's in a quarterback working out of the gun. And they'll throw again. As Curley, short of a first down as he's stopped by the free safety Earl Thomas. 5-yard pickup.
A little bit of a tendency breaker. When we've seen Tim Tebow in the shotgun, a lot of it has been run. And so now they've come out and thrown it a couple times today.
Remember, the Jets did not show the Wildcat offense at all in preseason. It added a feel of mystery in the addition of Tebow, but he has not been used frequently during the course of the regular season, and Sanchez is back. Hilliard diving for the first down. Let's see where they spot it. The fullback, Lex Hilliard.
I think this is 4-down territory. With the way they're playing right now at 3 and 5, if they come up a foot short, I think Rex will go for it.
And they are short. The ball just inside the Seattle 40-yard line. We've played 5 minutes. The Jets in the midst of this possession that started back at the 20 off the touchback. It's their 11th play of the drive.
And at 3 and 5, we talked about this, Mara. There's no margin for error. You have to be aggressive.
4th and less than a yard, and Green is stopped back behind the line. Mike Morgan, the outside linebacker, on the tackle for a loss of 1, and the Seahawks will take over. Sean Green tried to spin, but came up short. Back in Seattle, Seahawks take over 1st and 10 from their 41. The quarterback, the rookie from Wisconsin, Russell Wilson, who has been playing exceptionally well. This is Marshawn Lynch. Second in rushing coming into today to Adrian Peterson of the Vikings. He picked up 3. Seahawks up front at left guard, John Moffitt starting for James Carpenter for the second straight week. Carpenter recovering from that concussion. Backs and receivers, Lynch having that terrific season. 881 yards coming into today's play. 3 wideouts for Seattle. We're no score, 6 minutes gone by. Out of the gun. Off the pump, a double pump. Can't find anyone, and now he does, and the leaping catch made for the first down inside the 40 by Doug Baldwin, who refused to go down. He was spun around by the left corner, Kyle Wilson, a first down for Seattle.
And this is what Russell Wilson does such a great job of, is just keeping the play alive with his elusiveness. It's not there to the right. He comes all the way, scrambles, comes all the way back across the field, and is able to find Doug Baldwin. This guy is hard to get on the ground.
That's an 18-yard pass play. Doug Baldwin, second-year man from Stanford, signed last year as an undrafted rookie. He has been a very valuable possession receiver. First down for the Seahawks. Wilson fires deep down the left side. The leaping catch made, touchdown! Golden Tate, who has been spectacular the last 3-4 weeks.
Yeah, I really felt it was important to take some shots in this game, and you can just tell where they're going. They're trying to work on Kyle Wilson right now. They like that matchup. You see the frustration from Rex Ryan. It's just man-to-man coverage and a really nice throw here by Russell Wilson, giving Golden Tate a chance to make a play on the ball.
38-yard touchdown pass play. Golden Tate has scored twice last week against the Vikings, showing his acrobatic skills.
Remember what Pete Carroll told us, we need to get the ball down the field more to Sidney Rice and Golden Tate. This game's going to help them in everything else they're trying to do on offense.
The point after by Stephen Hauschka. Russell Wilson to Golden Tate. That's his 6th touchdown of the season. A 7-0 lead for the Seattle Seahawks as Stephen Hauschka, 5-year man from North Carolina State, gets set to kick it away. 3 plays, 59 yards in a minute 33. A touchdown pass from Wilson to Tate. Clyde Gates, the deep man for the Jets. Gates will run it out to the 10. Up toward the 15 and pushed back. Nice coverage by the Seahawks, led by Heath Farwell. Russell Wilson with the good start, throwing for his 14th touchdown of the season. This November, the NFL is honoring veteran and active duty servicemen and women with Salute to Service. And as part of the salute, World War II veteran Joe Moser raised the 12th man flag just prior to today's game. It's a tradition
63 is eligible,
in
63.
Seattle, as we honor our veterans. And in honor of Veterans Day, for every point scored during the NFL's 32 Salute to Service games, the league donates $100 to each of its non-profit partners, the Pat Tillman Foundation, USO, and Wounded Warrior Project. To join the salute and learn more, visit NFL.com/salute. Sean Green, the ball carrier, stopped by the middle linebacker Bobby Wagner, so Green picks up 4.
And I think it's going to be a big Sean Green type of day, Marv. Remember now, the Seattle defense really struggled last week against Adrian Peterson, had 182 yards rushing, and of course a number of those big runs just showed up, especially in the first half. So if they're vulnerable anywhere defensively in Seattle, I think it's their run defense.
Double tight ends for the Jets, 2nd down and 6. Sanchez able to complete to the tight end Keller, but shy of a first down. Dustin Keller set back by hamstring injuries. He's missed 4 games. He was met up by Brandon Browner and Earl Thomas. How about these cornerbacks? Brandon Browner, as I mentioned, 6'4". Richard Sherman at 6'3". The strong safety Cam Chancellor is 6'3", and Earl Thomas, the other safety, a Pro Bowler, as is Sherman, and Browner.
Tremendous size on the back end of this defense. And the great thing about it is they can all run and cover despite the fact that they are 6'3", 6'4", 220, 230 pounds.
3rd and 3. Bilal Powell in the backfield. Sanchez gets it away, and it's knocked down. Alan Blanch, the left defensive tackle, who also can play, we'd say these days, small forward in the NBA. He goes 6'6", about 300 pounds.
Yeah, some of these defensive linemen are doing such a good job batting balls down. When they can't get there, when they can't get around the quarterback, they do a good job staring at the eyes and trying to tip and deflect balls at the line of scrimmage.
So the punting unit has come on. Robert Malone from his 10. And a beautiful punt. Leon Washington, the one-time Jet, broke the tackle as he reaches out to the 40-yard line. 56-yard punt, 20-yard return. Isaiah Trufant on the tackle. Russell Wilson and the Seahawks starting out from their 40-yard line. Wilson had won the starting job in preseason because of his arm strength and athleticism. In comparison to the backup, Matt Flynn. And off to Lynch. Marshawn Lynch, who has that bruising style, facing the Jets' 29th ranked rushing defense. And according to the website, Pro Football Focus, Rich, Lynch has caused 32 missed tackles. That's 3rd most among running backs, and always able to pick up an extra 2 or 3 yards.
Yeah, I think he's one of the game's top power backs. So he's got that nice combination of speed and power. Very difficult tackle in the open field.
2nd and 7. And this time Lynch is bottled up. Jets do a good job. Just a yard pickup. Last week, Lynch ran for 126 yards against the Vikings.
Before the ball came loose. 3rd down.
Ball came loose, but Lynch was down. The announcement from the referee, Ed Hockley, one of the NFL's premier officials in his 23rd season in the league.
Here's where Russell Wilson has to be smart. The Jets are going to try and confuse the rookie quarterback on 3rd down with some pressure. You can already see it at the top of your screen. They're not going to let him sit back there and get comfortable.
Wilson being chased. And it is incomplete. First he thought about throwing it away, then he saw Sidney Rice.
And the key for them, they have to be able to keep Russell Wilson in the pocket. You see they bring pressure there, and you allow him to get out on the edge. This is what they don't want. He's so good with his mobility, and that gives him the option of either running or throwing it. They've got to keep Russell Wilson contained.
John Ryan, who averages 50 yards a punt, among the leaders in that department, getting set, but a flag is thrown.
Before the ball was snapped, false start. Offense, number 20. 5-yard penalty. It's 4th down.
Called on Jeremy Lane, so they'll move it back. Just under 5 minutes remaining in this first quarter. Seahawks jumping in front early on the touchdown. Oh, one of the officials just took a fall, and here's it from the crowd. I think he tripped on the 30-yard line.
Turf monster.
Now Ryan gets it away. This is Curley calling for the fair catch. Inside the 20-yard line, a 42-yard punt. Little fancy footwork here. And a nice recovery. The umpire, Rich Hall, took that spill, and some compassion all around, even from the Seattle Seahawks after he went down. Tim Tebow is back, both Sanchez and Tebow on the field. And a penalty marker is down. Sanchez is lined up wide to the right, and Tebow for the 3rd time at the quarterback position.
False start, offense, number 81. 5-yard penalty, it's 1st down.
That's the tight end, Dustin Keller.
And that's brutal. I mean, coming out of a break like that, I mean, there shouldn't be any issue at all. We talked about crowd noise and false starts. Visiting teams have 113 false start penalties since 2005. It's one of the things that Rex Ryan talked about on Friday night. We've got to be able to manage the crowd noise early.
Now, would it be even more difficult to put Tebow in at quarterback in a place like this, deep in your own end?
Different cadence with a different quarterback.
Now Sanchez will throw, and it is off the mark. The intended receiver, Clyde Gates.
Talked about how important it was for the Jets to get off to a fast start. They've had a couple balls batted. They had a drop by Lex Hilliard. You can see Tony Sperano there. He said one of the things that they found out about themselves is they went back. They have 8 games worth of information during the bye week. One of the things he says, I've got to help the quarterback on second down. We've got to be able to run the ball more, not necessarily on 2nd and 15.
Jets looking at a 2nd and 15 back at the 14-yard line. Powell is in the backfield. Allow Powell with a big hole on the right, able to cross the 20-yard line. Stopped by the free safety, Earl Thomas, so that's 7 yards for Powell, a second-year man out of Louisville who sat out the Jets' last game against Miami a couple of weeks ago with an injured shoulder. The Jets have dropped their last 2 at New England and blown out at home by Miami 2 weeks ago, followed by the bye week. Overall, they've lost 4 of the last 5. The one win in that stretch, they beat the Colts. 3 wideouts for the Jets for this 3rd. And it's bobbled by Sanchez, and down he goes.
Well, you look at this is going to be really important. This matchup all day on the right tackle. That's Bruce Irvin. He's the most explosive pass rusher in the draft, going up against Austin Howard. He gets beat right across his face. Rare speed off the edge with that first step explosion and burst. It's just too much for Austin Howard.
Robert Malone will punt it away to Leon Washington, one of the NFL's most dangerous kick returners, as the Jets are well aware. Washington taken down from behind as he crossed the 40-yard line. It was Aaron Berry right on the scene. A 56-yard punt and a 9-yard return. Well, nobody knows the game like a quarterback. At least, Rich, that's what you keep telling me. Break down all the NFL action on NFL Monday QB. That's tomorrow, 6:30 Eastern Time, only on CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. The show featuring our Rich Gannon, Phil Simms, Steve Berline. Special guest this week, Dan Fouts. Seattle 1st and 10 from the 41. And Robert Turbin is the running back, but Wilson looks to throw. He's very elusive. A flag comes flying, and down he goes. Bart Scott, the inside linebacker, playing through that injured toe. In fact, we may see some shuffling throughout the day. Scott, according to Rex Ryan, might play 20 or 30 plays.
Holding offense, number 75. The penalty is declined. Play results in 2nd down.
Well, there is no 75, but that's a really nice job there by Bart Scott. I mean, he just stays after it. You know, Russell Wilson will drive you crazy if you're a defensive player. He's just going to run all over the place, and you got to be persistent. That's exactly what Bart Scott did on that play.
2nd down and 22 as Robert Turbin remains in the backfield. So the punt by Wilson, and he has the ball knocked away, and it's picked up. Muhammad Wilkerson runs it in for the touchdown and the stuff. So the Jets able to take advantage as the ball was knocked free. Good hit by Mike DeVito. And the 2nd-year man from Temple, 1st-round pick last year, Muhammad Wilkerson, takes it 21 yards for the score.
And that's the type of effort it's going to take from the Jets. A big play on special teams, a score on defense, I think, to win here today in Seattle.
And that quiets the crowd as Nick Folk comes on for the extra point. holder, the punter Robert Malone. Tanner Purdom with the snap. The game is tied at 7. Russell Wilson trying to protect the ball. Strip picked up by Muhammad Wilkerson. And he goes the distance. Now look at Muhammad Wilkerson, number 96. 6'4", 315-pounder, second-year man out of Temple University. First fumble return for a touchdown since back in October 2009 against Jacksonville.
And that's a real positive for that Jets defense. Obviously, Mark, they hadn't been generating a lot of negative plays. The sacks, the fumbles, the interceptions, the tackle for losses. But this is something they were so good at in the past. And it's something they've been working on a lot during the bye week, trying to get the ball out and on the ground.
Muhammad Wilkerson, his first NFL touchdown. Leon Washington is back deep. And this one carries out inside the 5-yard line.
Kickoff illegally out of bounds. The ball is placed at the 40-yard line. First down.
And that means the ball comes out to the 40. Well, tonight on CBS, it all begins with 60 Minutes, and where some of the best open jobs are in America. Follow my new episodes of The Amazing Race, The Good Wife, and The Mentalist. Tonight, only CBS.
Good look at Mike Westhoff, the special teams coordinators. Again, I'm sure it was a long week for those Jets special teams units after what happened to them 2 weeks ago against the Dolphins.
Which made it worse. He had a bye week in between to think about all the problems. Again, Wilson in trouble this time. Able to make a couple of moves to break tackles and then is spun around and hit hard. He's dumped at the 40-yard line by the free safety Jeremiah Bell.
Well, if you're Russell Wilson, you better have your head on a swivel when you get around number 37. This guy, he can ruin your day. They've got two very active safeties that spend a lot of time down around the line of scrimmage. Landry and Bell, two of the better safeties, more physical safeties in football.
And Richard was the outside linebacker, Brian Thomas, who put the initial pressure on Wilson. So they are getting to Russell Wilson. Inside handoff, Lynch broke tackles. Comes up short of a first down. David Harris makes the stop as Lynch goes for 7.
A little surprised how the Seahawks started this game throwing it so much, and you've got that guy right there that's second in the league in rushing right now behind Minnesota's Adrian Peterson. He's averaging almost 5 yards a carry, and we talked about how important it is. You see play selection there. Everything begins with their ability to run the ball with Marshawn Lynch. Of course, off of that comes the play action and the quarterback movement, but it starts with them running the football, and Darrell Bevel's got to do more of that, I think, here in the first half.
3rd down and 2 for the Seahawks. Lynch and Michael Robinson in the backfield. Here's the roll and the pass. First down, Seattle. The catch by the tight end, Zach Miller, who has been more of a blocking tight end. As a member of the Oakland Raiders, he put up a host of big numbers.
Yeah, he was a Pro Bowler for the Raiders. You don't see as much action here with the Seahawks. A lot of it is, of course, because of Marshawn Lynch. They're struggling a little bit in the passing game. You think about an offensive imbalance. They're 7th in rushing and yet just 31st in passing. It's an area where they have to be better.
Although in recent games, Russell Wilson has been effective. Wilson takes it. An immediate hit on Miller. He took a shot. Just a short pickup, about 3 on the play. Antonio Cromartie making the contact with the tight end, Zach Miller.
And he's really picked up the slack of Darrelle Revis's presence. You've got to be able to see out in front of throws. And you look at Cromartie, as I said, he's playing a lot better without Revis. But I think he's played well. I think quarterbacks haven't had much success throwing in his direction.
2nd down and 7 for the Seahawks. With 20 seconds left in this opening quarter. Robert Turbin accelerating. Turbin, rookie out of Utah State, handling for the first time, picked up 4. And that is the end of the first quarter. With the score, the Jets 7, the Seahawks 7. We'll take a break. We'll return to Seattle after these messages. You're watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 47. Back in Seattle, we're at CenturyLink Field. Marv Albert, Rich Gannon, second quarter underway. Jets and Seahawks tied at 7. Seattle ball, third down and 3. At the Jet 40, they go with 3 wideouts. Marshawn Lynch, the running back, and a long count. Lynch trying the left side, looking for the marker. Let's see where they spot it. Ball may have come out. Jets indicating that it came out and they recovered. This is always so difficult for the officials.
Well, you never know what goes on the bottom of the pile. You can see Jet players trying to keep the Seahawks players away from the bottom.
And there's the indication. Fumble recovered by the Jets.
Well, the Jets defense really doing some good things here in the first half. And you see that hit right there. That ball looks like it's coming out. Yep, you can see it in the middle of the pile. A lot of people laying on the pile don't even realize it's in the pile.
And it appeared that Calvin Pace, right at the bottom of that pile,
the ball was
able to get to it.
By New York, first down.
So it's Jet ball. Second turnover committed by the Seahawks. The first leg to the Muhammad Wilkerson 21-yard run for a touchdown. And all turnovers are reviewed upstairs, so they will take a look. So we'll step away for a moment. We're early second. Game tied at 7. And now we're told that the ruling was confirmed. It will be Jet ball. Muhammad Wilkerson was able to knock it free. What a first half for Wilkerson. And it was recovered by Calvin Pace, so it is indeed the Jets in possession.
Well, you go back and you look at it, you just watch Wilkerson. He comes off of this block and he gets a hand in there, and then of course Pace somehow is able to get at the bottom of the pile.
Jets take over at their 38-yard line. Pete Carroll, one-time head coach of the Jets, one-time head coach of the Patriots, head man of the Jets back in 1994, going 6-10. He was the Jets defensive coordinator for 3 years. This is third season with the Seahawks.
And a former head coach at USC, where he had Mark Sanchez for 4 years. And so in visiting with him on Friday, they felt like they had a really good feel and a real good beat of just who Mark Sanchez is and where he may struggle against this Seattle defense.
And you recall at the time, Pete Carroll didn't feel that Mark Sanchez should leave school. He felt he wasn't ready, hadn't played that many games. And there was the thought there were not particularly good feelings between the two, but you talk to both, they say everything is all right. We saw that on the field earlier.
You can't fault Pete Carroll trying to keep a good player like Mark Sanchez at SC. And of course, you look at Mark, when he came into the league, what he was able to do his first 2 years. He took the Jets to the AFC Championship game, both in his first and second season.
Well, this was seen in pregame a couple hours before the kickoff as Mark and Pete get together, had a long discussion on the field. And you can hear the crowd getting into it. Curley able to get to the 45, stopped by Earl Thomas, the free safety. It's a 6-yard hookup.
And I think if you're Seattle, you have to concentrate on 2 players in the passing game. I think it's certainly Dustin Keller, and then it's Jeremy Curley. I think that's where Mark Sanchez is most comfortable right now throwing the football.
And now Sanchez back to the sideline, and here's Tebow.
And regardless of how much Tim Tebow plays, you still have to set aside meeting and practice time to prepare for him, something that Seattle's talked about a lot this week.
Now Tebow will run. And he's taken down across the 45-yard line by the middle linebacker, Bobby Wagner. It's a 3-yard pickup. And Sanchez was about to make his way, and then is called back. So Tebow remains. Consecutive plays here for Tim Tebow, which is unusual.
This is one of the problems that they've had, some communication issues with Mark Sanchez and Tim Tebow. They both in the game. There's one coming out, one coming back in. And you can see right here, it's a problem for the New York Jets. This has been an issue the entire season.
That's their first.
When we resume, it'll be a 3rd and 1. The Jets forced to use a timeout off that confusion. We can see Sanchez trying to signal to Tebow what the play should be for this 3rd and 1, and they had to use a timeout. And as Tebow straight ahead and has the first down. Picked up 3, and now Sanchez will make his return.
Well, this guy's a big man, and this is what you want to do. Have him run up inside and use all that 240 pounds to get the first down. You look at the 8-game breakdown with Tim Tebow through the first half of the season. 54 snaps, but 30 of them with him either at wide receiver or running back. Not a lot with him at quarterback.
Now the Jets in a conventional set with the fullback Hilliard in front of Green. Hill is to the right. Sanchez with time. He goes downfield, has Curley. Cuts to the right to the 20, a 15-10. And brought down from behind by Brandon Browner.
Really nice job here by Mark Sanchez and Curley. A double move on Brandon Browner. You can see he's going to look back in there. When he looks back, Curley goes right by him, and a nice job cutting it back up inside away from Cam Chancellor. This is an area where I think Sanchez has gotten a lot better. We saw early in the year missing him on some of these double moves where he overthrew the receivers. This time giving Jeremy Curley plenty of opportunity to make that catch.
43-yard play. Now the handoff to Green. Trying to follow the left guard. Picked up 4. You get the idea of the way things have gone. The crowd has really settled down.
Yeah, it has quieted down, and that's really the key, I think, playing here in Seattle. We talk about the importance of getting off to a fast start, managing the crowd noise, and being able for the Jets being able to run the football, not falling behind in this game.
2nd and goal at the 3-yard line. Here's Green protecting that ball. Goes for 2. And it brings up a 3rd and goal. Jets try to take the lead. And here comes Tim Tebow. It's a 3rd and goal. Ball is just inside the 2.
Be very interested to see if they throw it. I mean, all eyes are on Tim Tebow.
3 tight ends on the field for the Jets. And a flag is thrown.
Before the ball was snapped, false start, offense, number 81. 5-yard penalty. It's 3rd down.
Called on the tight end, Dustin Keller.
Yeah, this is twice now for Dustin Keller in this game. Really no reason for it. You just got to sit in there. Oh, just a little bit of a jump.
Is it a different cadence once again with Tebow?
There is, and not only that, but Tim Tebow not under center. He's in the shotgun. It's even harder for a guy like Dustin Keller, who's the end man on the line of scrimmage, to hear Tim Tebow.
So Sanchez back for this 3rd down and goal. He pumps. Now he throws, and it's picked off. Richard Sherman on the interception. Sherman really faked Sanchez out. He stayed behind Keller and then was able to step in front, came up with the pick, and took it back for 25 yards.
When you go back and you look at the interception, this ball comes out on time. I think he's got Dustin Keller for a touchdown right now. But if you watch Mark Sanchez in the pocket, he's taken a couple of hitches, and he's late. He's got his eyes inside now. Watch, 1, 2, 3. Oh, now you're late, and that's just too easy for a cornerback like Richard Sherman. He baited him into that interception.
And he stepped out at about the 2.5-yard line, so they bring it back. That's where Seattle will start out. Marshawn Lynch, who has not been able to get going to this point. Incidentally, that was the 4th interception of the season for the left corner, the 6'3" Richard Sherman.
Yeah, that was one of the problems that they talked about during the bye week, the interceptions in the red zone. I think that's 7 interceptions going back to last season for Mark Sanchez in that part of the field. And that's just too many. And he knows that. Can't make those mistakes down inside the 10.
Seahawks 2nd down and 6. 5 minutes in, second quarter, the game is tied at 7. Once again, it is Lynch, and he is gang tackled. Marshawn Lynch, 6-year man from University of California, originally a first-round pick of the Bills. He spent 3.5 years with Buffalo. He's become a much more decisive runner and so difficult to haul down, although to this point the Jets have done a nice job.
Yeah, and he always seems to be falling forward at the end of runs. I mean, he leads the league in yards after contact, and as Rex Ryan told us as they watched the film this week, he doesn't go down easy.
3rd and 4 for the Seahawks from their 9-yard line. Now Turbin, the running back. Look out, Wilson in trouble, and ball knocked away. It is recovered by the Seahawks. So Russell Wilson has been taking a pounding in this first half. Turbin on the recovery. The pressure coming from Ellis Langster, backed up corner.
Yeah, you just watch Langster. He's going to be coming off the edge, and Russell Wilson never feels him. And they talked about bringing pressure, and you can see it right there at the end. He never feels the nickel slot, and you just knew that Rex Ryan was going to try and heat up the young quarterback.
Jeremy Curley is back for this punt from John Ryan. Curley at midfield. Good coverage once again by the Seahawks. A 50-yard punt and a 5-yard return. Jeremy Lane with the tackle. Oh, Rex Ryan on that fumble. Jets starting out at their 49, and Tim Tebow is back on the field. Mark Sanchez is in at fullback and now flanks off to the far side. 5th time that Tebow has taken a snap. He's out of the gun, and again he will run. He spins his way to the Seattle 49-yard line, met by left defensive end Red Bryant. We've seen now 5 times that Tebow has come on. We've talked about it in the past during Jet telecast. How disruptive is this to the offense? We saw a couple of penalties called with Tebow looking to run the club.
Yeah, everybody's got an opinion about how to best utilize Tim Tebow. I thought I had an interesting conversation with John Madden this week. He said it's an all or none proposition. You either play him the whole game or you don't play him at all.
2nd and 8 for Sanchez. And he guns it to the near side. It is incomplete, intended for Stephen Hill.
And Marv, getting back to what John Madden was saying about Tim Tebow, and I kind of agree. I mean, it doesn't help Tim Tebow when you run him out there for a play. He comes back to the sideline. He's sitting there. He's got this sheet on here, his list. He's got about 15 plays in there. He's got problems with communication, but Mark Sanchez, he doesn't know if he's staying in the game or coming out. I think you play Tim Tebow. I think he's at his best in the 4th quarter. He's playing at one speed, and you're playing at another from a defensive perspective. That's where he can do his most damage.
So you're saying play him in the 4th quarter?
I'm saying play him the whole game. Either play the guy, give him lots of reps, or don't play him at all.
All right, 3rd down and 8, and Sanchez with the sideline pass that is nearly intercepted. Intended for Clyde Gates, covered by Richard Sherman.
I don't think it helps Mark Sanchez. He's coming on and off the field. It hurts Mark Sanchez's timing and rhythm in the passing game. You're constantly coming out. You don't get a feel for how they're playing you defensively, and nor does Tim Tebow for that matter, where he's constantly coming on and off the field.
Leon Washington is back for the Robert Malone punt. And this time called for the fair catch inside the 10, a 39-yard punt. Sanchez to this point, 4 of 11, 63 yards. Game tied at 7. Back in Seattle on a 40-degree day here in the Pacific Northwest. Marv Albert with Rich Gannon. Jets and Seahawks tied at 7. Lynch, the running back, as the Seahawks go back to the offense.
Well, Russell Wilson has been on the run most of the first half, and Jets have done a good job chasing him around, getting hits on him early. He's been sacked 3 times already in this game, and he's been careless with the ball in the pocket. This fumble right here leads to an easy walk-in for Muhammad Wilkerson. And this is a problem right now for Seattle. They're not handling the perimeter pressure from the New York Jets.
Seahawks now 2nd out and 5 at their 15-yard line. Lynch on a sweep. And again, the Jets able to handle it well. Brian Thomas there to make the stop.
Well, Russell Wilson has to be smart against this defense. I mean, Rex Ryan knows how to bring pressure. The ball's got to come out quick. It's got to come out on time. You can't afford to take that extra hitch against this defense. That's where you find yourself in trouble. When you feel you can hold it one more second and all of a sudden somebody like Calvin Pace comes around the edge and knocks it out.
We've been talking about former Jet Leon Washington, another former Jet, Braylon Edwards now on the field, flanked to the right side, but again it's to the ground. And Lynch is hit back for a loss by Mike DeVito. 3 and out for Seattle. Loss of 3 on that play.
Boy, this Jets defense is really playing well right now. Inspired football. They're really setting the tone, making things very frustrating for Seattle here in the first half. Turnover's been a big story.
2 committed by Seattle, 1 by the Jets. Curley is back deep. There's the puck by John Ryan. Good hang time. And Curley muffed it. It is recovered by Seattle. Flag also thrown. The special teams problems continue for the Jets.
Yeah, we talked about problems last week. You can see Mike Westhoff there. There is a penalty down there. Jeremy Curley comes up and fields this one and doesn't catch it cleanly.
Recovered by Cam Chancellor.
Holding by the Jets, number 92. That penalty is declined. It's Seattle's ball, first down.
So the Seahawks on the recovery of the muffed punt by Jeremy Curley will take over.
Yeah, you see right there, he takes his eyes off. I don't know if a hand gets in there. You look at Jeremy Lane, he might have gotten a hand in there as Curley was catching. Just watch Lane's left. No, I think comes right through. He just doesn't catch it cleanly. Boy, another big play in the game, and it comes in the kicking game. You see Mike Westhoff there. He's just so frustrated right now with these units.
Seahawks 1st and 10 at the Jet 42. That the penalty was called on backup linebacker Marcus Dowden.
Now you got to be able to capitalize. Now you got to be able to take advantage of a turnover and good field position in the Jets' end.
Robert Turbin is back at running back. Wilson with the pitch. Back he goes. Flicker. Here comes Wilson's pass deep downfield. It is caught. No, it is broken up. Sidney Rice thought he had it, but not able to hang on.
Well, a better throw here by Russell Wilson gets it done. It took a little while. You see Sidney Rice, he has to wait on this thing. Nice job there by Antonio Cromartie ripping it out. He gets beat by Sidney Rice and is able to recover. Just enough to get this one out. Boy, it's so close. Sudden change of possession. Seattle takes a shot.
Sidney Rice at 6'4", looking for his 5th touchdown of the season. This is Golden Tate. He was on the receiving end of the Seattle touchdown earlier. That's a a 6-yard advance, and a penalty marker is down.
Illegal motion. Offense, number 89, was moving forward when the ball was snapped.
It is
5-yard penalty.
wide receiver Doug Baldwin called on the penalty.
We're going to wind it.
Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, Coach Bill Cowher. They'll have all the latest NFL scores and highlights. Lots to talk about today. That's coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. Seahawks back to a second down and 15, and Lynch is back on the field. Takes a shovel pass. Lynch in the open field, down to the 20, and then bumped out of bounds. Bumped out by Cromartie. That's a 27-yard play.
A really nice action here. They kind of get your attention like they're going to throw the ball to the right, and they slip Marshawn Lynch back out to the left. Look at Russell Wilson. His eyes are to the right all the way, draws the rush, and then he just flips the ball out to Marshawn Lynch, and he just follows that convoy down the field. John Moffitt.
First and 10 from the Jet 20-yard line. Lynch remains in at running back. Straight ahead move. Marshawn Lynch stopped by David Harris. He went for 5. We're down to 4.5 remaining in this first half. A half that has included a number of turnovers. A muff punt just a moment ago by Jeremy Curley. The game is tied at 7. Now Seahawks with double tight end. Lynch, the lone deep back. A rookie quarterback, Russell Wilson. Lynch once again. And stopped by Garrett McIntyre, 3 yards for Lynch.
One of the things the Jets looked at during their bye week from a defensive perspective is they didn't tackle well in the first half of the season. They weren't getting off of blocks. When you look at a back like Marshawn Lynch, you've got to be able to game tackle him. You can't try to tackle him up high. And we talked to Rex about that on Friday night. He said we've worked extra during the bye week to clean up some of the missed tackles we had in the first half of the season.
It's a 3rd and 2. The fake to Lynch. Wilson on the roll. He's to the 5, inside the 5, has the first down and a 1st and goal. Garrett McIntyre able to get to him. A 10-yard run by Wilson. Getting back to the subject of poor tackling as we watch the play fake and the run by Wilson. How do you practice tackling? Because aren't you afraid that guys are going to get hurt?
Yeah, not only that, you have less time out on the practice field with these new rule changes, and less time in uniform. But they do what they call thud, where they actually make contact. They just don't bring the back down to the ground.
1st and goal. Here's Lynch, close to the goal line. Stopped by Bart Scott. Picked up 2. It'll be a 2nd and goal at the 1.
Yeah, you look at Marshawn Lynch. He's one of those old school backs. He seems to get stronger with each carry, and as the game goes along, he can really wear down a defense in the 4th quarter.
Now Pete Carroll has 3 tight ends on the field. Lynch and Robinson are the running backs. Play fake. And the pass off the mark might have been tipped. A flag is thrown. Pass intended for the tight end, Evan Moore. Looked like he stumbled. May have had contact from LaRon Landry, the strong safety.
Pass interference, defense, number 30. The ball is placed at the 1-yard line, an automatic first down.
And that is called on Landry, so it's an automatic first down for the Seahawks.
Snap from the half-yard line.
Yeah, really
unnecessary. To the goal.
Really unnecessary. The problem is the quarterback's still in the pocket, so you can't push him out of the end zone. You see right there, LaRon Landry just going to push the tight end, Evan Moore, out of the back. He had his back to the ball. That was the problem. You can't panic in those situations.
Ball is placed at the half-yard line as lined up for the 1st and goal, and this is Lynch, very close. He's in. Touchdown. Marshawn Lynch with his 5th touchdown of the season. It all started with the muff by Jeremy Curley giving possession on the recovery by Seattle, leading to this drive. So the Seahawks take a 13-7 lead, 7 plays, 42 yards in 3 minutes and 41 seconds.
He's just going to burrow under Damon Harrison. He just gets lower than a defensive tackle. He just kind of pushes himself into the end zone.
Booth review on the touchdown, just to check that Lynch did get it across.
Trying to see whether or not his knee came down before the ball actually crossed the goal line. Tough to tell from that angle. All right, looking for some Skittles right now.
Yeah, that's one of the favorites of Marshawn after he scores.
The ruling on the field that it was a touchdown.
Usually celebrates on the sideline by eating a handful of Skittles. Yes, of Skittles. Still waiting word or confirmation from the booth as to whether Marshawn Lynch did get it across without the knee coming down prior to crossing the goal line.
I think this is going to stand. It's very difficult to tell. You can see right there the ball's over the line right then, but tough to tell when he comes down whether or not that knee is down. And I don't know there's enough evidence to overturn this. You see him just, that's a sign of a good back. You see him just kind of continuing to push, continuing to move those legs after contact, and that's really what I think Marshawn Lynch does as well as any back in football.
Here comes the referee, Ed Hockley.
The ruling on the field stands as called. Touchdown.
It's tough after looking at all those angles to say, well, we have to change that call.
Yeah, especially here in Seattle, right?
Oh, well, that can't be a fact.
No, I know. I'm just kidding. But I think
now you're talking like an Oakland Raider quarterback.
That's right. That's right. The officials.
That's terrible. Here is Steve Hauschka for the extra point. Able to put it through, and the Seahawks take a 14-7 lead with 2:04 remaining in this first half. Well, Tuesday on CBS, it is a crime so big, the law and the mob will join forces in this episode of TV's #1 news show, Vegas, Tuesday, only CBS.
Well, a good chance for the Jets. 2 minutes left, 2:04 and 2 timeouts. A chance to orchestrate this 2-minute drill and see if you can't get down there and get a score before the half.
For the Jets, it's their first trip to Seattle since back in the 2008 season. Seahawks won on that last meeting, which was played in the snow. Mike Holmgren's final game as head coach of the Seahawks, December of 2008. And the quarterback at the time for the Jets, fellow by the name of Brett Favre.
How about that, huh? Well, you look at the Jets. They've not had a lot of success on the road this season. They've won just 3 of their last 11 road games going back to last year. And of course, they've lost 3 in a row and 4 of the last 5. I mean, they are desperate for a win, and they've got to be encouraged by the way their defense has been able to get some pressure on Russell Wilson in the first half.
Clyde Gates back for the kickoff, and he runs it out. Taken down just short of the 20-yard line. Led by Byron Maxwell. 2-minute warning. Back in a moment. In our New York studios, guys getting ready. Dan with the red licorice, which I know is excellent for the vocal cords. Coming up, the Verizon halftime report. JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, Coach Bill Cowher. They'll have all the latest scores and highlights coming up on the Verizon halftime report. 3 wideouts for the Jets as they start from their 18. Sanchez underneath has Bilal Powell for just a short pickup. Picked up 4, second down and 6. A minute 40 left first half. Seahawks have a 14-7 lead on the Jets. Low snap. Sanchez took a hit. And the end result, just to get that pass away, was Chris Clemens making his presence felt.
Yeah, he's just be working downside, a little stunt game back inside, the little TE game, and he never feels Clemens coming. Oh, that's a big hit by the Pro Bowl defensive end. He leads him right now with 7 sacks coming from this game, and got 25 sacks. But even the hits, the hurries, just as important. Getting that quarterback on the ground.
Well, Clemens is relentless, a 9-year man out of the University of Georgia. 3rd and 6. Sanchez. It is incomplete. Intended for Hill. So the punting unit will take the field.
Boy, what an ugly sequence. 3 and out for the Jets, and kind of surprised they didn't just see Stephen Hill there. Surprised they didn't run it there, maybe force Seattle to use one of their timeouts. Now you get Seattle the ball back with 1:29 and all 3 of their timeouts.
The former Jet Leon Washington back deep, and would he love to return one? The distance. Good coverage though by the Jets, and he's ankle tackled across the 40-yard line by Aaron Berry. 45-yard punt and 11-yard return.
Well, the self-inflicted wounds have really hurt the Jets in this game. You talk about the first possession of the game. They get stopped on 4th and 1. They don't block that one right. Sanchez late to Keller. Another red zone turnover for Sanchez and the Jets. And, of course, Curley botches a fumble return that led to 7 points for Seattle. So the turnovers, and again on the road, you're talking about a team that's 3 and 5.
We are in the last 2 minutes.
Can't overcome all the mistakes.
Now, Rich, that's Bilal Powell shaken up, and the Jets are shorthanded in the running back department coming into today with Joe McKnight and inactive.
Yeah, not only it affects them in terms of their offense, but special teams. They had a problem with injuries on special teams, and the good news for the Jets is that they get Eric Smith back in the lineup. He helps them on defense as a 3rd safety, and he plays so many roles, not just on defense, but special teams. It gives him so much versatility, and Rex was excited to have Eric Smith back from a knee injury.
Seahawks 1st and 10 from their 43, and Leon Washington now is on the field. First time we've seen him instead of just back for a kickoff return. Muhammad Wilkerson able to make the stop, picked up 2 on the play as Washington was the ball carrier. 2nd down and 8. They go no huddle.
This is amazing how he moves around.
And able to complete along the sideline to Doug Baldwin for a 1st down.
And the great thing about it, once Russell Wilson starts to move around, watch the receivers adjust downfield. This is what they do such a good job when we talk about the scramble, Joe, coming back to the quarterback on the move. Really nice adjustment here by Baldwin. You see now, once he sees the quarterback scramble, he works down the sidelines.
13-yard play. Washington remains in the backfield. And this is Washington. Broke tackles. Let's see where they spot it. Ellis Langster on the tackle.
Offense, number 67. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Flag on the right guard, Paul McQuiston, so they'll bring it back.
You just watch McQuiston right here to the right of your screen. He's just going to grab the jersey of Wilkerson right there. You can't do that. It's a big penalty, huge penalty. They're already in field goal range after that run, and now they're backed up with just 49 seconds to go.
So it's a 1st down and 20 at the 48, and Washington remains in as the running back.
No one with their hand on the ground. A lot of movement by that defensive line.
Play fake. Sidearm pass knocked down. Calvin Pace got a piece of it. When you look at Russell Wilson, who's listed at 5'11", does not have a lot of tip balls or batted balls because he has a high release.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he sets deep in the pocket, or they move him out of the pocket, and he's got that, as you mentioned, Marv, a kind of high arm angle, high release. You know, he's never going to be a prototypical drop-back pocket passer, but he has the arm and the legs and the smarts, I think, to be very effective in this offense. He's looked really good in the first half of the season.
45 seconds left, first half. 2nd and 20 from the 48-yard line, and Washington is taken down back behind the line. Quentin Copel, the rookie from North Carolina, making the stop. Loss of 3, and a timeout is taken by the Seahawks.
I'm not so sure they even block him. You look where Quentin Copels is. He's right here. He just comes right down, and they don't cut this thing off right now. They don't even block him. That's just too easy for the rookie. Somebody's got to block him inside. You've got the left guard and the left tackle. You've got some problems there.
2 timeouts remaining for Seattle, 2 for the Jets. The Seahawks have a 3rd at 23 at their 45-yard line. They say they need about 20 for the possibility of a Hauschka field goal. That would be within his range. There is Wilson, and that ball was deflected. Looks like Copel's got a piece of it.
Well, this is what they need. They don't have that one dominant pass rusher right now. It's so hard to survive in today's NFL without one, but you see Quentin Copel. This is the guy they're hoping is going to be that dominant pass rusher. You talk about the problems they've had. Just 12 sacks so far this season, 29th in the NFL. Nobody with more than 2.
4th punt of this first half for John Ryan. Curley is back. His last attempt was a muff, which led to the Seahawk touchdown. And now he calls for the fair catch and makes it inside the 15-yard line. A 40-yard punt. Jets take over with only 29 seconds and 2 timeouts remaining. Well, you can help the victims of disasters like Superstorm Sandy. Text Red Cross to 90999 to make a $10 donation to the American Red Cross Disaster Relief Fund. CBS Cares. And Rex Ryan wearing that unique hat. Combination of NY and NJ. For all those who have suffered because of Hurricane Sandy. There's Sean Green. Stopped by Bobby Wagner, the middle linebacker. 3-yard gain.
You just get the sense that both of these offenses, as they head to halftime, a little disappointed with how they played. I mean, a bunch of 3 and outs. The Jets with 3 and Seattle with 4. The turnovers are a big story. And you just feel like they've left some offense, left some plays on the field.
The Jets will let the clock run out. So that is the end of the first half with the score. Here in Seattle, the Seahawks 14 and the Jets 7. We'll be back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 47. Wilson fires deep down the left side. The leading catch made. Touchdown! As the ball knocked away, and it's picked up. Muhammad Wilkerson runs it in for the touchdown. On to the second half in Seattle with the Seahawks in front of the Jets, 14-7. Marv Albert along with Rich Gannon as we look back to the first half from the Jet point of view again, trying to work the combination of Mark Sanchez and Tebow. Tebow on the field 5 times. It just has not worked.
Yeah, before we get into the Jets quarterback situation, do you not get that memo from New York about always wearing a necktie in the broadcast booth? I'm just curious.
You know, I actually heard from very high executives they prefer the turtleneck look.
All right, well, let's talk about the Jets quarterback situation in the first. I don't like it. I don't like going back and forth. I don't think it makes a lot of sense. They've been sloppy on offense. I think, as I said in the first half, I think you've got to go all in with one or the other. It's not produced a lot of explosive plays. You look at Tim Tebow, they sprinkle him in there a little bit. Tim Tebow is not going to really give you anything unless you give him 40 or 50 snaps in a game. And even at that, I don't know how much production you get out of him in the passing game. I'd like to see more of Mark Sanchez in the second half and less of Tim Tebow.
Seahawks will receive the kick from Nick Folk. Washington comes up, and he's to the 10, and goes to the right. And taken down. The Jet coverage has been very good against the dangerous Leon Washington. This time he brought it back for 17 as you take a look at the first half stat rundown.
Yeah, as we talked right before halftime, kind of a sloppy first half. And as I look at Russell Wilson, he's got to do a better job with ball security. The ball is away from him a little bit in the pocket. And I think that that's something that we haven't seen a lot of from him. He's been pretty good at that. Jets defenders, particularly guys like Quentin Copel's, getting around him and getting that ball out on the ground.
And a sloppy first half, each team turning it over twice. Marshawn Lynch is back at running back. Lynch, again, so difficult to bring down. You think he keeps going for another 2 or 3. Calvin Pace finally made the tackle, and Lynch able to make 6 yards out of that one.
Yeah, he's a guy that's always going to keep fighting. Always seems to be bouncing off of would-be tacklers. 3 straight 100-yard rushing performances coming into today's game. I really felt like that was the key for this Jets defense. Slow this guy down, make the rookie quarterback throw the ball 30, 35, or 40 times.
2nd and 4, Seattle at its 24-yard line. Lynch and Robinson in the backfield. And Lynch is stopped at the 25, picked up a couple, met by Ouha.
You get the sense that, I think back to that Friday night production meeting we had with the Jets at their hotel and talking to Rex Ryan, as I began to break down their defensive struggles, you got the sense that he's fed up and frustrated that they haven't played better, but he was offended when I started describing the issues about their defense. He said, look, trust me, we'll take care of things today. We'll get after this Russell Wilson.
I find that happens with you and a number
I offend a lot of these guys, don't I?
Yeah, but Rex walking out, I thought that was a little too much. Wilson in trouble again, and this time he throws it away. Pressure from Ellis Leinster, who has played well. Leinster, a 3-year man out of West Virginia.
And they're bringing a lot of pressure off the edge, off the slot up top, and he's late to see it. But this is the kind of pressure that Rex was talking about. He said, we can't let Russell Wilson sit back there and be comfortable in the pocket.
Jeremy Curley back for the punt from John Ryan. And again, he's able to boom it. And again, Curley taking no chances. Calls for the fair catch. 41-yard punt from Ryan. So the Jets back to the offense, and Mark Sanchez making his way out of the field. Vladimir Dukas, who just came on at left guard for Matt Slauson. The Jets will do that. At that position as the Jets take over. Here is Sanchez on first down. He goes underneath, has the fullback Hilliard just short of the first down. Wagner and Morgan combined to make the stop. So Sanchez now 6 for 15, just 75 yards and 1 interception.
Yeah, the interception coming in the red zone, and yeah, he's got to play better. You look at the numbers, not great. The thing that really bothers me about Mark Sanchez is the completion percentage. You just can't survive in this league completing just half of your throws.
See Sanchez back on the sideline. You can hear the crowd getting into it as Tebow steps back onto the field as the quarterback for running back Sean Green flanks out to the left side. Tebow from the gun, he sidearms. He has Curley, not much there. Stopped by Earl Thomas, Pro Bowl free safety in his 3rd year out of Texas, and now here comes Sanchez.
Pretty predictable when Tim Tebow's in there. It's a third straight throw that we've seen to Curley. A little flip pass to his left, and then if not, he's typically running it up inside between the tackles. He talked about his volume, just 15 plays, and Tony Sparano talked about those plays used to be on the back of the call sheet. Now they're on the front page of the call sheet to try and make that more of an emphasis.
Did pick up the first down, though, and now Sean Green with a nice run. Met by the left corner, Richard Sherman. So Green goes for 7. There's the Jets offensive coordinator, Tony Sparano.
He used to have the plays on the back, and now he's flipped them over to the other side. But I just don't know how effective it's been. And I asked Tony Sparano about that. He says, we don't have the time to practice all the plays with Tim Tebow. The other problem is we don't know what looks we're going to get from the defense. It seems like every time we've gotten into the Wildcat with Tebow, we get a different look.
Second out and 3 is Green with just a couple. You mentioned Sparano with the plays on the other side. That's the way it used to be, because he would separate Tebow's plays from the rest of the team, and now he's put Tebow's plays within what you see from Mark Sanchez, which I would think means they are looking to use him more frequently, which I don't know, is that good or bad?
No, I really think that, you think why Rex brought in Sparano in the first place. Kind of the shift the emphasis back on the rushing attack, more of the ground and pound. I think that's what we're going to see more of in the second half of the season.
Third out and 2. And it is dropped. Dustin Keller not able to hang on.
Well, this doesn't help Mark Sanchez at all. You talk about how Mark Sanchez is struggling, but you got a tight end like Dustin Keller. This is just a simple play. We saw a drop earlier from Lex Hilliard. They're not playing well around them, and I've mentioned this a number of times. They just don't have a ton of talent. Where are they at the skill position? They don't have any top 10 talent. Quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. It's just not there. Not a single Pro Bowler on this Jets offense at the skill positions.
5th punt for Malone, and Washington calls for the fair catch. And perhaps the most talented players, Santonio Holmes and Darrelle Revis, are sidelined by injury. Back in Seattle, the Seahawks will start out from their 10-yard line. They have a 14-7 lead on the Jets. Early third quarter, Marshawn Lynch is the running back. And Wilson throws. It is incomplete, intended for Sidney Rice. A reminder, tomorrow, 2 broke girls find the sweetest thing possible in a candy store on a new episode that's tomorrow only CBS. Seattle Seahawks started the season at 4-3. They have dropped 2 of their last 3. They won at home here over Minnesota last week. Running for win number 6. They come in at 5-4 behind the 49ers as Lynch running to his right. Taken down shy of the 15 by Muhammad Wilkerson. Picked up 3.
Doing a better job here with Marshawn Lynch. You see Wilkerson there doing a good job getting off the blocks. We talked about that and rallying to the football. And you see these safeties playing a lot of snaps down around the line of scrimmage. Jeremiah Bell and LaRon Landry. And that's really, I think, particularly LaRon Landry, that's where he's most comfortable, down around the line of scrimmage where he can be disrupted.
Russell Wilson looking at a 3rd down and 7. Has to go short range. Zach Miller, the tight end, picking up the extra yardage, battling for the first down. Well, we talked earlier about the poor tackling on the part of the Jets. Miller tough to bring down at 6'5", 255 pounds, and finally was taken down.
Yeah, he's in position here. You're going to see Calvin Pace. You got to make this tackle. Nice stiff arm by Zach Miller. Just enough to get him the first down.
Ends up as a 9-yard gain and a first down at the 22. Rice in motion. Lynch straight ahead, stopped by Harris. Jets have done a good job against Marshawn Lynch. And it's not the defense that has been the problem here this afternoon.
No, it really hasn't. And we talked about the Jets playing better on defense. They've done that today. I don't think that not only were they disappointed. I think they were surprised by their play in the first half of the season, particularly their run defense. Get up 141 yards on the ground, 29th in run defense. And they really felt like they needed to get back to being the backbone of this franchise. And it all starts with being dominant on defense.
2nd and 8. And Wilson again could not find anybody, and he's taken down by David Harris. Stopped at the line.
Well, they do a nice job downfield first in coverage, but look at the contain. They get upfield and they contain them. They force them to step back up in the pocket, and you look downfield, there's nowhere to throw the football. Just a really nice job by the Jets defense. Good job tying in the coverage with the pressure and contain up front.
And that counts as a sack, so the Jets have come up with 4 sacks. 3rd and 8. Deep drop here by Wilson, avoids the pressure, and completes for the first down across the 35-yard line. Doug Baldwin making the catch and was shaken up.
Well, he's not the tallest quarterback, but what he does a nice job of is sliding and finding throwing lanes in that defense. And not only sliding, but resetting, shuffling, and getting the ball out, making a good accurate throw to Doug Baldwin for the first down. You know, Russell Wilson, it just seems like everything he does on the field, it looks athletic. He's just very poised back there in the pocket.
Ron Landry came down hard on Doug Baldwin after Baldwin went down, so you saw him hobbling off the field. Timeout is taken by the Seahawks, so they use their first timeout. Seahawks 14 and the Jets 7. As you can see, the rain falling here in Seattle. It was in the forecast. 1st and 10 for the Seahawks from the 35-yard line. Wilson could not find anyone. Now he throws. It is incomplete. Intended for Sidney Rice, covered by the left corner Kyle Wilson.
Well, when you think about Russell Wilson, I think one of the things that has impressed me the most about him is his preparation. Not many quarterbacks would get the film on Sunday night and already look at it and make the corrections. He comes in on Monday, spends time jumping ahead, looking at the next opponent on Tuesday. He's actually cutting up plays and giving out tip sheets to the receivers. He watches the next opponent. He watches 4 games. There's a lot of work even before he gets that game plan on Wednesday. I think that really helps Russell Wilson.
Lynch, the ball carrier. They stand him up, but he keeps going. They cannot bring him down. There's an additional 3-4 yards. Goes for 9. Finally, David Harris was able to get him to the ground.
Well, you look at the movement on the pile after initial contact, and I've really been impressed with Max Unger, their center. And then you look at everybody just jump in there. And of course, you look at the legs churning at the bottom of that pile. That's Marshawn Lynch, as we talked about, always falling forward at the end of runs.
3rd and about a yard. Lynch and Robinson in the backfield. Lynch follows Robinson, but short of the first down. Brian Thomas able to make the tackle, no gain on the play.
Well, we talk about the old 46 defense, the Bear defense, very difficult to run against. And not a lot of teams in football still run it, but you look at the Jets, they're a team that does it. And they've had a lot of success with it. You'll see it a lot in their short yardage situations where they cover up the center and both guards and have extra defenders on the line of scrimmage.
4th and 1, 6th punt for John Ryan, the 7-year man by way of Saskatchewan, Canada. Just to get it away. And a fair catch called for by Curley inside the 20. I would have to say that Rex Ryan is a television producer and director's delight. Back in Seattle, Washington, rain continues to fall. We have 5:33 left in this 3rd quarter. Marv Albert with Rich Gannon, the Seahawks with a 14-7 lead over the Jets. And the Jets start out from their 20. Sean Green, the running back. Mark Sanchez swings it, Curley, and runs it out of bounds. Well, Rich, we have more from the Rex Ryan repertoire.
You know, he's always just so animated, you know. And this guy, if you can't get fired up playing for Rex Ryan, you got to check your pulse. And this guy's about as intense as they come on the sidelines. You look at that 8 animated reactions today. That's
so sad that they are following that stat in the trunk. Tim Tebow is back. 2nd and 5 from the 25-yard line.
4 times today we've seen that play. Very same play.
Faking the pass and then running for the first down.
You know, it's not very often that you repeat plays over the course of a game. That's the 4th time today that Tony Sparano has called that play. Do you think Seattle's knows that, and they're going to do something about it? They come right off the slot. They cover up Jeremy Curley, and Tim Tebow has nowhere to go with the ball. You know, you need plays that look the same that are different. Fake that and throw the ball down the field. Fake that, run the draw. Do something different, but don't run the same play 4 straight times with Tim Tebow in the game.
But he did get the first down. That's his 7th play of the game. Here's Green. Sean Green with the good effort, reaching out near the 35. Picked up 3, met by Mike Morgan, the outside linebacker. But even though he picked up the first down, picked up 6 on the play, it's still the word disruption enters the conversation, because what does it do to Mark Sanchez?
It does. I think, what does it do not just to Mark Sanchez, but the other 10 guys in the huddle? You have somebody else calling the play, you got somebody else's cadence, and then you're constantly bringing them on and off the field, and it's really difficult. As a former quarterback, I can tell you, it's difficult to find your rhythm in the offense.
2nd down and 7. Sanchez with the pass. A diving catch is made by Dustin Keller for the first down.
And to Mark Sanchez's credit, he's not complained once about it. You know, we've talked to him in the production meetings. We've asked him about it. He's taken the high road. Whatever we can do, if it helps us to win football games, I'm all for it. Good catch there by Dustin Keller in traffic.
Jets 1st and 10 at the 45 off that 11-yard pass play. Green is below deep end.
Not a lot of production on the perimeter. Most of the throws that Mark has thrown have been inside the numbers.
Sean Green picks up 3.
The big reason why is you look at these Seattle corners. They've got 2 very good corners here that I've been really impressed with. You look at Richard Sherman and Brandon Browner. Look at these guys. They're monsters. Go out to the practice field. I look at Brandon Browner. He looks like a tight end. And yet these guys can run. They're physical. They get their hands on you at the line of scrimmage. They're very disruptive, and they play with a lot of confidence.
And we have our fact checkers on it, trying to figure out whether they are the tallest quarterback tandem in NFL history. Here's Sanchez looking to air it out. He fires it, and it is broken up as Curley was submarined by the combination of Cam Chancellor and Richard Sherman.
Well, Mark Sanchez has a problem getting the ball at first, and then they're trying to fit this one in. The problem here is Sherman has help from the safety over the top. You can see Chancellor, and he almost cuts him and saws him in half. That's a late throws like that get those receivers hurt.
Chancellor making a Pro Bowl for the first time last year. Actually, his first year as a starter. 3rd and 7 for the Jets. Out of the gun. Here they come, and Sanchez taken down. 2nd sack of the day for the Seahawks, and it's Bruce Irvin coming up with his 7th of the year. That's his 2nd sack of the day.
They don't even block Irvin. And watch the fullback. He's going to cross key, and they turn the end man on the line of scrimmage loose. This is a problem. Communication issues in the protection game. It was a problem against the Dolphins 2 weeks ago.
Leon Washington let it bounce. Talking earlier about Leon Washington, who had some big years with the Jets and then was traded because of that broken leg that was suffered in a game against Oakland, and has done very well here in Seattle. It's not a high number of yards for either club, so both teams having their difficulties at the offensive end. The Seahawks with a 14-7 lead, just under 2 to go in the 3rd quarter. Seattle takes over. Wilson off the roll. able to complete as the tight end, Zach Miller. That's good for 9 as we're set for an update from New York. JB.
An important game between the Eagles and the Cowboys, Dan.
Yes, and Nick Foles in for Michael Vick. He rolls to his right all day to throw. Looking down the field, throws a bomb. Looks like it's going to be a fair catch. Jeremy Maclin, no one's around him. Touchdown, 44 yards, 14-10, Philly.
A fair catch. Marv Albert and Rich Gannon.
All right, thank you, JB. 2nd and 1 for the Seahawks from the 25-yard line, and Lynch has a first down. Picked up 3. We're also told that Michael Vick is out of that game after suffering a concussion.
Yeah, I was curious as to why Nick Foles was playing, whether it was just poor play or an injury to Michael Vick. 2 teams, Dallas and Philadelphia, in desperate need of a win.
Sidney Rice comes to the near side. Marshawn Lynch, the feature back, first out of the 28. He dropped by Wilson, being chased. And Wilson is tripped up, taken out of bounds. LaRon Landry able to chase him down. Well, you can get coverage of every NFL game with NFL Mobile. While on the go, watch live streaming of every touchdown from every game with NFL Network, as well as Thursday, Sunday, and Monday night games at NFL Network's 24/7 coverage. Call star NFL to download or go to NFL.com/mobile to learn more. Seahawks 2nd down and 9 from their 29-yard line. Time running out here in the 3rd. Beautiful fake, and it's Wilson down the sideline for the first down. The Jets were fooled. LaRon Landry finally caught up to Wilson. It's an 18-yard run for the first down.
Well, he's just going to, when he sees the end go down, he's just going to pull the ball out and keep it. And that's a play that they've run with some success here in the last couple of weeks. And Pete Carroll said that they really borrowed that concept from the Washington Redskins, where they saw RG3 have so much success.
So that is the end of the 3rd. The Seahawks with a 14-7 lead on the Jets. Out of the 4th quarter in rainy Seattle, Washington. Seahawks with a 14-7 lead on the Jets. Moments ago, Russell Wilson ran for 18 yards. They have a first down at their 47-yard line. Lynch battling through, straight up the middle. Brian Thomas on the tackle. Pickup of 5. A look at the numbers. Wilson is now 9 of 16, 133 yards, 1 touchdown, and Lynch has carried 22 times for 69 yards and a touchdown.
I think one of the disappointing things for Seattle is when the Jets have brought pressure, he's not been able to make the big play down the field. He's not been able to make them pay. And there are going to be some opportunities, but they have not been able to capitalize.
Here is Lynch. Broke the tackle. It's inside the 35, close to the 30. A 17-yard gain. Leinster finally pulled them down. Another Seattle first down.
Yeah, he just runs right through this tackle. And this is what you see typically from Marshawn Lynch. I mean, he just keeps chipping away at it. 23 carries, and some of his big runs, some of his more explosive runs seem to come late in games.
Now Robert Turbin, the rookie out of Utah State, has come on for Lynch. He's in the backfield to the left of Wilson. Fake handoff. Wilson throwing deep. It is caught. Touchdown! What a beautifully thrown pass. Sidney Rice with the catch, but there's a flag.
Holding. Defense, number 26. The penalty is declined. Touchdown.
A touchdown holds up. The penalty called on the Jets. Ellis Leinster. Beautiful touch from Russell Wilson.
Well, they do a nice job. They actually move Sidney Rice inside and put Baldwin outside to get the matchup that they're looking for on Ellis Langster. There's a perfect throw here by Russell Wilson. But a lot of credit, I think, has to go to Darrell Bevel. That's a nice design by taking Sidney Rice, who's typically outside, and moving him inside to get the matchup on the smaller corner.
That's a 31-yard pass play. Here is Stephen Hauschka. And a flag at the far side of the field.
Antonio Cromartie.
Offside by defense, number 31. The 5-yard penalty that will be enforced on the kickoff.
So again, the penalty is on Cromartie. Make it 7 plays, 84 yards, 3 minutes and 18 seconds. Sidney Rice with his first catch of the day for touchdown number 5 on the season. Seattle's leading receiver, Sidney Rice, making his first catch, touchdown number 5 of the season, 7 plays, 84 yards, 3 minutes and 18 seconds. And how about Russell Wilson? The last 5 games, including today, and we still have a good portion of the fourth quarter remaining. He has now thrown for 10 touchdowns in the 5 games.
He's on fire right now.
Deep kick because of the penalty. They moved it up, that penalty on the extra point, so they'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. So the Jets start out 1st and 10 from the 20 as you look at what Russell Wilson has done here at home.
Well, look at those numbers, 11 touchdowns, no interceptions, leads the NFL in quarterback rating at home. Not only is he, but this football team, they're a much different team at home. The numbers are dramatic.
Play fake from Sanchez. Can't find anyone. Now does, and the catch is made by Dustin Keller for the first down. A floater handled by Keller in front of Cam Chancellor, the strong safety, and that's good for 32.
Really nice job there by Mark Sanchez. It's not there initially, just keeps this play alive and does a little bit of a Russell Wilson imitation here, just scrambling, getting outside the pocket, keeping his eyes down the field. I think we're going to see less and less now, Marv, of Tim Tebow. Now the score is 21-7. As soon as I say that, Tim Tebow's out there. Look at the frustration from Mark Sanchez. This has got to be this fourth quarter has got to be a Mark Sanchez fourth quarter and not so much Tim Tebow.
All right, here's Tebow now looking to throw. And he fires to the far side. It is batted away. Curley had an opportunity, but looked like Thomas got a piece of it, and a flag is down.
Good defensive holding.
Holding. Defense, number 79. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. An automatic first down.
It's on the left defensive end, Red Bryant. But what would be the thinking of bringing in Tebow after Sanchez did a nice job and was able to connect on a pass?
And that's not really Tebow's strengths. I mean, we're talking about a guy who completed 46% of his throws a year ago. And if I'm Mark Sanchez, I'm trying to bring my team back on the road. I'd be frustrated. I hate coming out of games. I just made a big throw to Dustin Keller. Now I've got to come out for Tim Tebow.
Sean Green getting close to the 35, picked up 7. Met by Chancellor.
Now they bring the heavy personnel in. You see this, Jason Smith comes into the game. And Sean Green's been quiet here today.
63.
He's 14 carries for 54 yards.
Sean Green, 4-year man from Iowa. Once again gets the call.
That's their heavy personnel. They like to bring in an extra lineman, Jason Smith, and then run right behind that right side. A little more girth. Gets a little bit more movement at the point of attack.
Green picked up the first down at the 30. Just inside the 33-yard line, a 4-yard advance for Green, who's a good runner between the tackles, but there's a lack of explosion Deep drop by Sanchez, but the ball's knocked out of his hands, and it's recovered by the Seahawks. Jason Jones on the recovery. They were coming, and it was Richard Sherman, the left corner, who has been outstanding, who knocked it loose. Third turnover committed by the Jets.
Yeah, this is amazing. Right here, that they don't even block him. I mean, this is just, I have no idea. The back doesn't even look at him. And this is a problem. And now the ball comes out. You make one mistake, you turn it into another one. And again, we've seen this a number of times with Lex Hilliard in the game, where they've had protection problems where they're not even accounting for the end man on the line of scrimmage.
Talking about Richard Sherman being congratulated by Pete Carroll. Sherman saying the other day, he's memorized 5th round, 23rd pick, number 154 overall. He says that's his motivation, lasting to the 5th round last season. Marshawn Lynch, who is making his way toward 100 yards on the ground, picks up 4 more. There is Sherman, came up with an interception earlier. Second-year man from Stanford. Only a 5th round draft pick last season, which Rich still bothers him.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, 154th player taken. He said it's kind of a badge of honor for him. He's one of those type of guys. He's got a chip on his shoulder. Feels he was overlooked. It's what motivates him. And you know, you see him. He is having a tremendous. He's having a Pro Bowl caliber season for the Seahawks.
Second down and 5. Lynch, and he is gang tackled. Led by Barton Scott. The Jets able to get to Lynch. Looking ahead for the Seahawks, next week is their bye week. And then at Miami, at Chicago, back home for Arizona. The Jets coming off a bye week preceded by the blowout in the hands of the Miami Dolphins. And next week they're at St. Louis and then home for New England and Arizona. But the Jets are in a situation where they are looking at the possibility of a record of 3-6. Wilson swings it. He hurdles one Jet, spins his way, and then steps out of bounds. A man of many moves, the acrobatic Golden Tate in his 3rd year out of Notre Dame.
And they love these quick screens to the wide receivers. It's like a perimeter run for them. It's just another way to get the ball on the edge. And you look at Golden Tate, he's made some really nice plays, leaving his feet the last couple of weeks. We saw it against the Vikings last year in kind of a dramatic touchdown run. This is how you usually get hurt. But watch Golden Tate. Watch the effort here. Again, a quick screen. Watch the effort here at the end, diving for the end zone.
Picked up 13 on that last play and a 1st down for the Seahawks. Beautiful fake, and again it's Wilson on a keeper. Jets got fooled. The fake to Lynch, and Wilson picks up 8.
Yeah, just keep an eye on the end man on the line of scrimmage. They don't block him. And this is just, actually it's over this side, my bad. But they don't block Calvin Pace. We've seen that a couple times. That's his read when you look at the quarterback. He's just going to stare at the end man on the line of scrimmage. If he seals, then he keeps it. And if he comes upfield, he hands the ball to the back underneath.
Seahawks with a 2nd down and 2 at the Jet 23. They're lined up in the eye. And here's Lynch, breaking tackle to the 10, inside the 10-yard line, finally hauled down by Jeremiah Bell. And we're seeing the tackling problems once again for the Jets. Marshawn Lynch has now gone over 1,000 yards.
Really nice blocking up front. It starts with Russell Okung, the left tackle, John Moffitt. You see a nice the fullback, Michael Robinson. And of course, you look at Marshawn Lynch, as you mentioned, Marv, 6 100-yard rushing games this season, his 4th straight for the Seahawks.
1st and goal at the 8. Lynch dancing, finds the open, touchdown, Seattle, but a flag is thrown.
Holding, offense, number 74, 10-yard penalty. Repeat 1st down.
So they will bring it back. John Moffitt, the left guard playing for the injured. James Carpenter called for the hold.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Watch this move by Marshawn. Right there, Antonio Cromartie. Just watch him coming right at you. Pretty good for a big back like Marshawn Lynch. He's a special player.
5'11", 215 pounds, a bruising runner. Sixth penalty called on Seattle. Now Robert Turbin has checked into the backfield. And again, flag
False
comes in.
start, offense number 17. 5-yard penalty, it's first down.
One-time Jet Braylon Edwards on the move.
That's why you don't see a lot of Braylon Edwards in this offense. I mean, it's the mental errors that have really, if you go back and study him over his career, it's the thing that's held him back a little bit. Just concentration, focus. Think back to early in his career, he had a lot of drops. Of course, you make that mistake, and what happens? They take you out of the game.
Now, Pete Carroll not pleased.
Very little patience for that, particularly from a veteran like Braylon Edwards.
Correction. Arithmetically, Marshawn Lynch is actually 13 yards shy of 1,000. He has 106 for the afternoon on 26 carries, so it's another 100-yard rushing day for Lynch, who is closing in on another 1,000-yard season. Had a couple with Buffalo. There's a pitch back. Turbin looking to throw. He fires. Touchdown! Sidney Rice on the catch. It was actually Golden Tate on the option. And Sidney Rice with his second touchdown catch. A 23-yarder.
A little razzle-dazzle from Seattle. He just flipped it back to Golden Tate. You don't realize he's left-handed. Antonio Cromartie, Jeremiah Bell, they've got their eyes in the backfield thinking it's going to be a run. Never feels Sidney Rice slip right behind him in the secondary.
Extra point by Stephen Hauschka. And the Seahawks have pulled away. Just a moment ago, Golden Tate attempting his first ever NFL pass. And it was right on target to Sidney Rice for the touchdown.
His quarterback rating's going to look pretty good, right? 1 for 1 for a touchdown.
I want you to explain quarterback rating.
I don't even know myself.
Well, what do you... I can't believe
I just know you got to throw more touchdowns than interceptions.
I see. That's good. It would be more basic.
Uh-oh.
Oh, nice return by Clyde Gates. Across the 35, that's a 40-yard return, and the kicker, Stephen Hauschka, made the stop. Very elegant response by Golden Tate. Coming up, time permitting, after the game, the Subway postgame show. Join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, Coach Bill Cowher for all the latest NFL scores and highlights, all coming up on the Subway postgame show. 28-7 Seahawk lead as flags come
False
flying.
start, offense number 77. 5-yard penalty with first down.
It's the right tackle, Austin Howard, called on the false start.
Well, you look at the numbers between both quarterbacks today. Tim Tebow gets out there and just throws a couple little slip screens to Jeremy Curley. You look at Mark Sanchez, not great numbers, but again, I don't think anybody should be surprised with their struggles. You could see this coming. You go back to the preseason where this offense failed to score a touchdown in 35 possessions.
Now Sanchez guns it downfield. It is deflected, broken up. Once again, it's Richard Sherman getting a piece of it. Chaz Schillens, the intended receiver, as we send it to New York. Rundown of the Cowboys and the Eagles, JB and Dan.
Tony Romo trying a little magic.
Yeah, he's bringing it back, JB. He's looking for Dez Bryant, 30-yard touchdown, great catch. It was reviewed, it was rolled a touchdown, 17-17 entering the fourth quarter.
Back to Marv and Rich.
All right, guys, second down and 15 for Sanchez. His pass is caught. Sean Green on a 5-yard pickup. And Rich, unless there's a dramatic turnaround, and that does not seem to be in the picture with 7:30 remaining in this fourth quarter. The Jets trailing here 28-7. Do you consider starting Tebow next week? Is this the time?
Well, you know, I just think the whole idea of this quarterback controversy, it's not going to go away unless Sanchez plays better and the Jets start to win. I mean, that's the reality. We're talking about a team that'll be 3-6. The only issue you have is once you make the switch, you can't go back. And if you do make a switch, it's such a departure from who they are as an offense. I mean, you have to have a complete package of plays. I'm not talking about 15. I'm talking about 80 or 90 or 100 plays for Tim Tebow. And I just don't see them making that switch.
So Tebow come in on punt protection now. Malone's caught. Fair catch by Washington. 47-yarder. Seattle will get it back with a 28-7 lead. Which I'd call that a torrential rainfall. We've reached that point.
Yeah, it wouldn't be Seattle if you'd get a little rain during the game.
Oh, taking a shot here at the city.
Every time I came to Seattle for a game, it seemed, you know, it wouldn't start to rain until we fell behind late in the fourth quarter, and I had to throw it a bunch. Then it would rain a lot, where I couldn't grip the ball.
You sound bitter.
I didn't have a lot of success here in Seattle. Hard place to win. Lost in the Kingdom. Right. Lost over the University of Washington Stadium. This was being built, so we had to play out there.
You seemed a little ornery this weekend.
I was. Yeah. Although I love coming to Seattle. It's a beautiful town.
Great city.
I've had some nightmarish games here.
Second down and 12. Lynch in the backfield. Takes the handoff. Again, able to break tackles. So difficult to bring down. Has the first down and more. Finally, the free safety, Jeremiah Bell, made the stop. Lynch has already got over 100 for his sixth 100-yard gain of the season. Picked up 19 right there. He is now over 1,000 for the season.
Yeah, really some poor tackling. And, you know, you can't tackle him up high. You've got to wrap him up. And you just see way too many missed tackles. They come in there, they're lying around, but they're not using their arms to get this guy on the ground.
1,006, and we're only in, game 10 for the Seahawks. 5.5 remaining here in the fourth. Now Robert Turbin, rookie out of Utah State, goes for 3, set for another update. JB and Dan.
A cowboy on his horse.
Oh, yeah, JB, and it's a fast horse, too. Dwayne Harris down the sideline. He goes 78 yards for a touchdown. If Andy Reid and Philly loses this game, it'll be his first 5-game losing streak ever in Philadelphia. 24-17, Dallas.
Back to Marv Albert and Rich Gannon.
All right, JB. Second down and 7. Turbin remains in the backfield. Turbin able to slip through. He's able to break some tackles. Langston makes the stop. And Turbin goes for 6 yards. Coming up, time permitting, after the game, it's the Subway post game with JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, Coach Bill Cowher. We'll have all the latest NFL scores and highlights coming up on the Subway post game show.
I've been so impressed with this Russell Wilson and the job that he has done. And I think for him, it's all about that consistency with his preparation each week. It allows him to kind of go out there and feel like he's done everything he possibly can during the week to ensure a productive performance. He's been solid for the Seahawks.
Turbin in motion, comes to the near side. Not able to handle that swing pass. And a flag down. May have been for the hit by Bell on what would be considered a defenseless receiver.
Jeremiah Bell has been tagged a couple times this season for these type of hits. Let's talk about lowering that aiming point. been difficult for Jeremiah Bell.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness defense, number 37. Helmet contact for a defenseless player. 15 yards from the previous spot and an automatic first down.
So that is the call on Bell.
Yeah, not just Bell, but LaRon McClain as well. Look, I don't know. That's hits him right in the chest with his hands. Yeah, what are you going to do, right? I mean, I don't like the call. You can see Rex Ryan doesn't like the call, but it is what it is. Hard for these safeties. You know, these safeties only they're trying to compete. They're trying to make plays, and it's tough. It's not as easy as it looks to try and hit these guys below the chin strap. And you've got a back that's lowering his head as well. Now all of a sudden you wind up hitting him with a face mask and getting a penalty like that.
Seahawks have a first down at the Jet 42. Turbin able to break to the outside, try to bounce it out, picked up 3. After that bad loss to Miami 2 weeks ago, Rex Ryan said after the game, to say I never saw this coming is an understatement. What is he going to say here today? Of course, Seahawks are so difficult to beat at home. This will be 5-0 here at home, and Russell Wilson has been extremely effective.
Well, they're just not good enough on offense right now. I mean, defensively, not as dominant as they've been in the past, but I mean, wow, they just struggle. They struggle generating production. I mean, they just don't score a lot of points right now, and the passing game is awful.
And it is Turbin, stopped by Wilkerson. Look at what the Jets are facing the rest of the way. Next week at St. Louis, at a home game against New England, home against Arizona, at Jacksonville, at Tennessee, home for the Chargers in the finale in Buffalo. The game in Buffalo may have been their finest. That was the opening game at MetLife Stadium in the Meadowlands.
They have 3 of their next 5 on the road, and look, they've won just 3 of their last 12 road games. They've really struggled.
Struggle is a kind word.
It is.
In every area, they have been deficient. 3 yards for Turbin. Once again, JB and Dan.
Hey, Marv, it's a Dallas explosion.
All right, Nick Foles, he drops back. He's looking for Deshaun Jackson. Ball's tipped. Brandon Carr picks it off. He goes 47 yards for a touchdown, making the game 31-17 Dallas.
Back to Marv.
All right, guys, as we come up on the 2-minute warning here in Seattle, and the Seahawks in command, 28-7.
That's the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes.
Well, Rich, in his discussion about the Jets at halftime in the studio, Boomer Esiason used the word pathetic. And
those numbers are pathetic.
There's a number there. 1 offensive touchdown for the Jets over the last 7 quarters.
Well, Mark Sanchez isn't playing well. The running back's not playing well. They're not good enough right now on the perimeter. Wide receiver, tight end has been inconsistent since coming back from the injury. And it is what it is. You are what you put on film each week, and for the Jets, it's been ugly.
Well, the Seahawks going for it on a 4th and 2, and they succeed. The pass caught by the tight end, Zach Miller, who stopped by Jeremiah Bell. 11 more on the catch by Miller, who has been very involved. Get back to JB and Dan.
Colin Kaepernick in for the concussed Alex Smith.
All right, Kaepernick takes off out here off the option play. He's going for the corner. He gets in on the touchdown, 7-yarder. 17-14 St. Louis.
Kaepernick gets it done. Marv and Rich.
Well, if the 49ers drop to 6-3, and Seattle, with the win here today, will move within a half game.
Pete Carroll's got to feel good about this one, his former team, and how well they played. And there's Mark Sanchez, and he's got to be asking himself, where do we go from here? And how do we get better on offense?
Seahawks on their way to a record of 6-4. For the moment, they're a game behind NFC West leading San Francisco. Seattle makes it 2 straight wins as they look to their bye week, followed by games at Miami and at Chicago. The Jets dropping to 3-6, 3 straight losses, 5 of their last 6. And I'd have to say, not exactly going out on a limb, their playoff hopes are slim at best. Seattle with a commanding 28-7 win over the Jets. Marshawn Lynch, 27 carries, 124 yards. Russell Wilson finished strong, 12 for 19, 188 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and what a day for Golden Tate. Get the final score, Seahawks 28 and the Jets 7 tonight on CBS, 60 minutes, followed by The Amazing Race, The Good Wife, and The Mentalist. For Rich Gannon, I'm Marv Albert saying so long from Seattle. You've been watching the NFL on CBS.